Hi, everyone. Welcome to Grown&Wise, the podcast. This is the first ever episode. My name is Diana, and I'm going to be your host on this podcast, so you will constantly hear my voice. But I'm never going to be alone. I'm going to have a co-host with me. OC, do you want to say hi?
Of course. Hey, everyone. I'm also very excited about this podcast. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be exciting. And I can't wait. I can't wait for what we're going to share to the public.
Sure, me too. But I'm sure a lot of people listening right now are wondering, what is Grown&Wise, a podcast about? So Grown&Wise, I'm just going to explain a little bit. I'm going to let my co-host OC let you guys also know what Grown&Wise, the podcast is about. But Grown&Wise, the podcast came from the idea of having a lifestyle podcast, something that covers every aspect of life that people can relate to. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think it covers that. It also touches a lot on entrepreneurship as well. We'll be touching on various topics around entrepreneurship. There'll be a revolving door with a lot of guests that we know of who are very knowledgeable in the field of various sectors. Could be real estate, could be, finance, just any key sector that we think that's, something that we would love to share to the public. So, yeah.
Yeah, so like he said, entrepreneurship, business, we will cover that on Grown&Wise, the podcast. But we will also cover life itself, basic human relationships, things like dealing with the loss of a loved one. We'll talk about that as well. And just to bring you back to something you said about how this podcast will cover business and entrepreneurship. You were in Africa recently. You went there with the sole purpose of getting content for a show that's coming out on our page. Do you want to talk about the show?
Definitely. So we're in Nigeria in December. And, before I went to Nigeria, I think we sat down and we talked about the idea of starting a media company.
Yes.
And it was an intriguing idea. We had various thoughts around it and various things that we want to execute on around the media company, right? And obviously, it encompasses creating content, but we're also very laser focused on the type of content that we want to create and type of content that we want to share.
Yeah.
And we sat down, brainstormed around various things, came up with a few things. First one, which is our flagship product that we'll be launching on GreenX Media, which is obviously the name of the media company. It's Founders Uncovered Africa.
Yes.
And the idea for Founders Uncovered Africa came from just, having a network of founders and just looking at these founders execute in a terrain that is unpredictable, lack good policies, and also, challenges around that. So that's where Founders Uncovered came from.
Yes, and it's amazing if you think about it, because like you said, this all started with just talking. And I remember just before you flew to Lagos, Nigeria, we talked about how we wanted to carve out a niche and how we wanted to have a podcast that business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, people who are interested in launching their own businesses could listen, relate to, learn one or two things from. And Founders Uncovered Africa came out as a result of just that discussion, and we executed really quickly. But Founders Uncovered Africa is one of the contents that we'll be having on GreenX Media, right? I think we do have another content besides this podcast.
Yeah. So it's going to be a docuseries. Obviously, that's still in the works. But if you look at what a docuseries will encompass, right, it's more about the idea of telling stories that are only whispered but never really told. These are stories around history of Nigeria and certain parts of Africa, stories that we've heard from our parents or grandparents, but are never really told to the public. We want to take those stories and we want to encompass that and shine light on it, to educate the public. So I'm really excited about those projects.
Yes, and on a side note, we're Nigerians, so you would hear us all the time being passionate about our home, and that's because we are. And like you said, our history is not talked about enough, and it's just great that we could sit down and just talk about having a documentary on something that's very monumental to our history in Nigeria. And I just can't wait for us to bring that content to life. But yes, please look out for that. But I do want to come back to Founders Uncovered Africa because it's our flagship. It's our flagship content. It's going to drop on the 1st of February. We're super
Hmm.
excited. I wanted you to touch on what it felt like to be in Nigeria and be in that space with a lot of founders and just have that discussion with them. I
Yeah.
know to launch a business in Nigeria takes a lot of guts because you have to, battle a lot of things. So what was that experience like? Because I wasn't there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And just to pick back what you said, so February 1st is we're launching the first episode. First episode will be pretty much an interview with the founder and CEO of Drinks.ng, Larry, who's an amazing founder, took Drinks.ng just from an online company and made it one of the biggest distribution of liquor across Nigeria and also growing to other parts of Africa as well. So it's really interesting sitting down with him and understanding his journey and the challenges that he's facing. Right now in Nigeria, there's this big thing around fake drinks
Mhm.
and there are challenges around that. How does he navigate that? How does he instill trust within his clients? So that's an interesting episode. I'm really excited about it. I think there's a lot that we can definitely share from that.
Yeah, it was amazing because I did watch the episode. Yes, I have seen the episode, but you guys will get to see it on February 1st. And it was just very insightful to listen to him and be able to understand that there's more to having a business where you sell alcoholic beverages. There's more to it. And like you said, one of the biggest challenges that we face as a country is that when it comes to the liquor business is identifying fake from original.
Yeah, it is. And it's just funny because when I was in Nigeria, right,
Hmm.
I did experience that as well.
Oh, you had fake liquor?
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Casamigos. I could tell the
Mm-hmm.
distinct taste. Went to a hangout spot, which will remain
Yeah.
nameless.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, but did order Casamigos, got a bottle, and it was just not what,
You thought it
I'm
was.
used to. Exactly. So we ended up throwing it away because it's not good for your health. And a lot of these will be talked about on episode 1 as well. And I think I'm really excited about.
Yes.
One thing I do want to touch, the reason why I'm really excited about Founders Uncovered Africa is the idea that, and this is something that I noticed, the idea that these founders trust us. They trust us to tell their stories, and we owe it to them. We owe it to them to execute and really bring those stories to light. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I would love as with their own words and paint those pictures that they want us to share that with the public.
Yeah, and I think we've done a pretty good job carving out this niche for ourselves because if you do listen to a lot of content on social media these days, everybody's talking about when are we going to have a podcast? You're talking about business, you're talking about entrepreneurship, you're talking about business owners, founders, and this is where you should be. You should listen to the Grown&Wise podcast because we cover such topics, we cover such discussions, right? So yes, just to say one more time that Founders Uncovered Africa will be dropping on the 1st of February. So please look out for that. Also, do you want to add something?
Yeah. Just want to add something about the Grown&Wise podcast. First of all, I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
you, co-hosting this with me. I
You're
think
welcome.
you're extremely talented. Obviously, you have a lot of knowledge within the field. So one thing I do want to say is there's going to be a lot of truth, especially within the lifestyle brand as well. It's going to be a lot of truth. There's going to be a lot of authenticity
Mm-hmm.
in this. We'll try and be authentic as possible.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
We'll try and be as authentic as possible. And yes, thank you. I am happy that you were able to share your vision with me and you were able to tell me about GreenX Media. And I love the idea. I'm happy to be a part of it. I am looking forward to more content that we'll be able to share with you. So we are going to wrap this up really quick. But I do have to say, again, our channel is GreenX Media. In case you want to reach out to us, you can also email us on contactxmedia24@gmail.com. And you can visit our Instagram page, it's GreenX Media. Our Instagram page for Founders Uncovered, it's Founders of Covered Africa.
Of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you want to reach us directly as well, you can reach me at Usalama_Ama at either Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
also known as X, or IG.
Yeah, IG. But
Yeah.
for me, it's only Diane_. You will be vetted before I let you in. Yes, because well, it's the world we live in right now. But yes, please look out for Founders of Covered Africa. That'll be dropping on the 1st of February. We're super excited. And yes, that's pretty much it. OC, do you want to share anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. I'm excited. I think this will be fun. Stay tuned. There's just a lot of stuff that we want to share, a lot of truth that we want to bring out as well. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. You excited?
Super excited. I can't wait,
That's
actually.
what's up. Okay.
So yeah, so you're listening again to the Grown and Wise podcast. We will see you on the next episode. Bye, guys.